Hi guys, hope you're keeping well. Had a comment on my last video asking for a full stretching video. So I'm going to put together this video, which is going to be a full yoga practice focused around kicking flexibility. Now, I have to kind of start by saying that you could do all the stretches in the world, but if you don't have good kicking technique, then you're never going to have good high kicks. So the main thing you always have to focus on is your kicking technique, and then the stretching is an accessory to that. So I'm going to take you through the routine that I normally do, that I've managed to get me some pretty good high kicks over the years. Yeah, let's give it a go. So we're going to start balancing on one leg, okay? You need to be good at balancing on one leg, or I believe you need to be good at balancing on one leg, because when you're kicking and you're throwing high kicks, you have to be very, very strong at keeping one leg extended in the air while balancing on the one that's on the ground. So we're just going to start here, knee facing forward, holding strong. And let's switch over to the other side. Don't worry if you're doing this and your foot has to go down and touch the ground if you lose your balance. That's absolutely fine. Just slowly bring it back up. If you're finding it quite easy, try and lift your leg a bit higher. And if it's a bit more challenging, bring your knee a bit lower to the ground. Okay, I'm going to change over. Now this one is difficult for almost everyone, including myself. So we're going to lift our leg up into the air, except this time we're going to cover or just close your eyes. And you'll notice that the balance becomes a lot more difficult and you have to challenge yourself a lot more to stay upright. Okay, and let's change the other side. Same again, don't worry if you lose your balance. It's actually quite a good drill to try and maintain your balance while moving your leg around. Because when you're throwing high kicks, you're not always going to land in the exact same position. So if you're good at catching your balance in the air, it's going to make your kicks even better. Brilliant. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to work on a bit of hip flexor strength. So when you're throwing high kicks, a lot of problems that people have is they might be able to do a full splits and have great flexibility, but they might not actually be strong in these positions where they're most flexible. So even though if they're doing a splits they can get into these positions, they're not going to be able to kick at a full split range. So we're going to do some drills now that are going to focus on strengthening our legs so that when we do get into these positions, we're going to be strong enough to use the flexibility that we've been working on. So the first one's going to be nice and simple. It's just picking up the leg and putting it down. Super easy. If you find this quite easy, try and do it without letting your foot touch the ground. If it's a bit more challenging, just lift your leg up, put it back down, find your balance, and go again. Go 3 more on this side. And change. And 2 more. Good, okay. Next one, we're going to point our heel facing up the mat that we're on, and this time we're going to try and bring our heel close to our bum and lift up from our knee. So that might be a bit confusing, so if I point the heel towards the camera first, we're going to go here, put your other foot slightly in front, bring up towards here, and then we're lifting up with our knee. Same as before, if you need to, put your foot on the ground in between each rep. And let's change the other side. So heel facing towards the camera or up your mat. Curl your heel to your bum and lifting up your knee. 2 more. And rest there. Okay, next one, we're gonna do some leg swings. So you're gonna start with 1 foot forward and 1 foot back, and then nice and easy, we're just gonna keep our back leg straight, swing it up, and bring it back down to the starting position. I'm gonna do 10 of these. If this is quite uncomfortable in your hamstring, feel free to go as low as you need to. If it feels quite comfortable, try and swing your leg as high as you can. And let's change other side. Same again, building it up nice and slowly. If you need to go low, it's absolutely fine. You can just work on building this one up over time until you're swinging a bit higher. Two more. Brilliant. Okay guys, the next move we're going to go into is going to be a long lunge. So we're going to put 1 foot in front, 1 foot behind, and we're going to lean forward. So try and keep your back leg straight and your lead knee bent. You can have some different positions for your hands, so you can put both hands on your knee if you want to, or you can put both hands on your hips, or the hardest one, you can put both hands straight up in the air. And then just hold here and try and relax into the stretch. Taking nice big breaths. Every time you breathe out, try and move a little bit deeper into the stretch. And on the next breath out, we're going to bring our hands down to the ground, putting both hands on the floor. I want you to think about trying to bend your arms and drop your chest towards the ground. If you're comfortable here, you can try and go a little bit longer and bring your elbows down to the ground as well. You'll get a good stretch in your front leg towards the hip. Okay, and let's drop the back knee to the ground. Now we're going to sit up nice and tall and just push our hips forward. Always trying to relax into the stretch on every out breath that you take. Okay, and let's go other side. Same as before, front knee bent, back leg straight. Can go onto the knee, onto the hips, or hands straight up in the air. Nice deep breaths. And on the next out breath, let's bring our hands to the ground, stretch a bit further, try and think about dropping your chest towards the ground. Same as before, if you want to make it a bit more challenging, you can stretch your back leg further away and drop down to your elbows. You'll get a great stretch in your lead leg. And let's bring our back knee down and push forward into our hips. So make sure your back foot, your instep is on the ground. We're not up on our toes for this one. Back foot's flat, pushed forward. Okay, and let's come back up. So next one is going to be another type of lunge, but this time it's going to be with a foot sword on our back leg. So what that is, it's just a lunge, but your back toes are going to be facing towards the camera, okay? Now when we're doing this one, try and not let your hips turn forward too much. Try and have your hips square towards the camera, and we deepen the stretch by bending the lead leg. So a good way of thinking about keeping your hips forward is you can use your outside hand on the bent leg to try and pull your knee open to bring your hips in line with the camera. On the next out breath, try and go a little bit further. And let's change your feet over to the other side. So put your hands on the ground, swivel your foot that was in front, turn your other foot, and we're facing the other way. And the next breath out, let's try and stretch a bit deeper. Good, and let's put our hands on the ground and walk our feet together and come back up to a standing position and shake off your arms and legs. After the foot sword lunges, we're going to move into a box splits. Now don't worry if you can't do a full splits. I can't do a full splits, but I can still kick quite high, so it doesn't matter as long as we can get a little bit further each time that we practice this movement. So what we're going to do is just put your feet as wide as you can with both feet facing towards the camera. Now from here, you're just going to slowly move your hips backwards and bring your hands to the ground, okay? Now as you're comfortable, just every time you breathe out, just try and walk your feet a little bit further away from your center line. So this whole time, what we're going to try and avoid is letting our back round to get further down. We're going to try and keep our back straight. You'll notice as you lift your chest up and try and push your bum high in the air, you'll feel a deeper stretch in your legs. It's better to try and stretch from a position where your back is neutral than trying to just get a little bit further, but you're compromising your back, okay? So from here, every time we take a breath out, if you can, stretch a wee bit further. If you're comfortable here, what you can do is you can drop down onto your elbows and try and think about pushing your head in between your legs. You'll get a much deeper stretch. Just a little bit longer, guys. Keep holding. Okay, and work back up to your hands. And what we're going to do this time is slowly work your legs closer together, but don't bring them all the way together. So from here, now what we're going to do is we're going to come up nice and high. Put your hands on your hips, okay? And just hold in this position. If you can, try and go a wee bit further with your feet. And just hold here. A few more breaths. Brilliant. Okay, put your hands on the ground, walk your feet together, and shake off your legs. Okay, so we're going to move into some stretches that are going to involve us lying on the floor now. So if we take a seat, we're going to start with our feet in front of us and relatively wide, a bit further than shoulder width apart. I'm going to start with some internal rotations of our hips, just to get our hips nice and warm and get them moving. So we're just going to move side to side, bringing one knee in and one knee out. And then over to the other side. The whole time, trying to keep your shoulders facing forward, not letting your shoulders turn as you turn, because then you're taking the stretch away from your hips. Keeping shoulders facing forward and turning in. If you're comfortable with this, we're going to make it slightly more difficult. We're going to take our hands off the ground and try and do the same motion, but without using our hands for support. If this feels quite difficult or you end up losing your balance and falling backwards, just put your hands on the ground and you'll get the exact same effect, and you can eventually work towards this progression. Now, if this is comfortable, we're going to add in the next bit. So as you come round to the side, you're going to extend forward with your hips, bridge up, and then come back to the ground to go to the other side. So we're breathing in as we come down and exhaling as we move up. Couple more on this, guys. And last one. Brilliant. Okay, from here, we're going to be sitting on our back. And we're going to bring our feet together and our heels nice and close. Going to work on our butterfly stretch. So when you're doing the butterfly stretch, a lot of people teach it. So go here and then push down with your elbows, which is great. It's a really good way of doing the stretch. But the way I like people to first start doing it is, instead of trying to push down with their elbows, actively try and use the muscles in your legs to pull your knees down to the ground. So we're going to grab onto our feet. And instead of pushing with our elbows to start with, we're just going to use our legs to pull our knees towards the ground. To make the stretch more difficult, just pull your heels closer to your body, and that will automatically lift your knees higher in the air. So grab a hold of your feet and try and pull your knees to the ground. Okay, now we're going to give our legs a little bit of extra help, so we're going to grab onto our ankles, elbows go to the thighs, and we're going to push down a bit further. Okay, now if we spin round to the side, going to lie flat on our back down. And from here, we're going to bring our right leg up towards us and try and bring our knee into our chest. Try and keep your other leg straight and bring your knee as far as you can. And let's change other side. Okay, and if we bring both of our heels towards us slightly, we're going to take our right leg and put our ankle on top of our other knee and then pull our knee in towards us so we're stretching the outside of our hip. And let's change other side. So left ankle goes over right knee now, and we're going to pull in nice and close. Okay, next one, we're going to bring our right leg over our left, except this time we're going to have our thighs touching, and then now we're going to bring our feet towards our upper body. You should feel a bigger stretch in your right hip, but doing this one you should also feel a stretch in your left hip. So we can stretch both at the same time doing this one. So I'll face towards the camera, you can see what that looks like. So you're in this kind of weird, knotted position with your legs, which if you're doing this out in public, expect some strange looks, because I've had many while doing this stretch as well. And we're going to change other side. Grabbing the outside of the feet and pulling in close. And relax. Yeah. Okay guys, I think we'll call it there for today. If you have any feedback on this, let me know. This is the first time I've ever tried to create a yoga practice, and I hope I can definitely do it a bit smoother if I tried doing it again, but let me know if this was useful and if you'd like to see something like this again. Thanks for watching, I'll see you for the next one.